Back from a business trip. The office is empty. I was kicked from the group. My job is gone. The boss said,
$5,000. Take it or leave it.
then this $50 million deal of mine, there's no need for a collab anymore. Later, the boss came to my door begging me to return holding a partnership contract. I said, you personally initiated the vote to fire me. Now you want me back. Back from a half-month business trip. I stood outside the office with my suitcase. I looked up at the third-floor window. On the glass, those 4 gold leaf letters were gone. The window was pitch black, as if no one had ever been there. My heart skipped a beat. I hurried upstairs. The hallway lights were still on, but when I reached the office entrance, I froze. The door was locked. Looking through the glass door, it was empty inside. The workstations were gone. The computers were gone. Even the money tree I gave the front desk last year was gone. Scraps of paper were scattered on the floor along with tape residue. In the corner, there was a worn-out slipper left behind by someone. The company moved. No. How could they move without telling me? I took out my phone and opened the company group chat. My finger hovered over the input box. Before I could type a word, a small red notification popped up. You are no longer in the group. My finger froze. I was kicked. I took a deep breath and called Manager Sun Yafang. It rang 5 or 6 times, then she picked up. Manager Sun, what happened to
Lu Zheng, because of consecutive absences, you've been fired.
absences? I was stunned for a second. I was out on a business trip for a deal. Company policy says sales don't need to clock in.
That was the old policy. Since I arrived, sales are required to clock in. You haven't clocked in for 183 consecutive days. That's a serious violation of the attendance policy. According to the employee handbook, the company has the right to unilaterally terminate your contract. The notice was sent to your email. See for yourself. Do you have anything else?
Manager Sun, I've been working on a $50 million deal for 6 months. It's set to be signed next week, and now you're telling me I'm fired.
$50 million? Well, congrats. That deal, you can sign it at your next job.
I stared at my phone screen. My face was reflected in the glass. I couldn't tell if I looked angry or pathetic. A $50 million deal. I'd been chasing it for 6 months. To meet Fang Yuanzhou from Gaofeng Group, I waited outside his office every day for a month. I'd arrive at 6 a.m. and leave at 10 p.m., rain or shine. I eventually helped him move and pick up his kids, and even took his father-in-law to the hospital. At one dinner, I downed 2 bottles of liquor. I drank until my stomach bled and my colleagues had to carry me into the ER. None of this was known by anyone at the company. In their eyes, I was just a high-paid salesman slacking off in the field. I let out a self-deprecating laugh. I found another number, President Zheng Guoliang. He picked up quickly. President Zheng, why wasn't I told about the company move? And why was I fired out of the blue? I thought Zheng and I were on good terms. When I joined 5 years ago, Honda Industries was just a 5-person workshop.
Work hard, and when we go public, I'll take care of you.
I signed deal after deal, watching the annual revenue grow from thousands to tens of millions. I'm responsible for a third of this company's success.
Lu Zheng, this was Manager Sun's decision. She's in charge of HR. I can't really interfere.
Can't interfere? Hearing that, my heart sank. Zheng saying that meant he was in on it. President Zheng, are you sure you want to fire me?
Lu Zheng, I know you've given a lot to this company, but we haven't treated you poorly either. You've made plenty in commissions over the years. Now that we're professionalizing and expanding, we can't keep making exceptions for you. Don't you agree? I haven't closed a deal in 6 months.
Because I've been chasing a massive one.
Every salesman says they're chasing a massive deal. If the company is going to move forward, we have to follow the rules. Tell you what, I'll personally give you $5,000 in severance. No hard feelings.
5,000?
Don't be ungrateful. It's a gesture of goodwill. If we really looked into it, over the years you've been out there, were you working or just slacking off? You know the truth. The company paid your base salary every month. If we really wanted to press the issue, you'd owe us that money back.
My base salary? $2,000 a month. That's $100,000 over 5 years. I have over $40,000 in out-of-pocket travel expenses that haven't been reimbursed. Sun Yafang always claimed the paperwork was wrong to delay it. I didn't want the hassle, so I didn't push. I never asked the company for it because with the commissions I was making, I didn't mind covering some costs myself. But now Zheng is counting my base salary? Fine. I accepted.
It doesn't matter if you do or not. Lu Zheng, let's just part ways. This company can no longer afford someone as important as you.
I stood at the empty entrance of the office. The motion sensor lights in the hallway went out. Everything went dark. My phone rang again.
Lu Zheng, I really didn't expect this. You actually have the nerve to complain to President Zheng. It's only right that a parasite like you gets fired. It's perfectly justified. You still think President Zheng will protect you? When I proposed firing you, hundreds of employees voted. Every single one agreed.
She sent a screenshot. I tapped to enlarge it. It was a screenshot of the vote in the company group chat. The name of the person who started the poll was clearly displayed. Zheng Guoliang. 321 in favor. 2 against. 4 abstained. I went through the names one by one. Lin Xiaoyu, the first trainee I ever mentored. In favor. Miss Li, whom I helped with her mortgage. In favor. Old Wang, whom I recommended for a promotion. In favor. The receptionist, the warehouse staff, the cleaners. The vast majority were in favor. As for the 2 who voted against, I didn't know them well. But I made a mental note of it.
The truth is obvious to everyone. Stop making a fool of yourself. Besides, President Zheng has already set up a straight-up collab with Gaofeng Group. They're signing the contract in 2 days. You think the company can't function without you?
Gaofeng Group. Isn't that the client I landed? Before I could say anything, Sun Yafang hung up the phone. I leaned against the hallway wall for a long time. Then, I sent a message to Fang Yuanzhou at Gaofeng Group, President Fang, about the contract. As soon as I sent it, Fang Yuanzhou called me back.
About the contract, is everything coordinated on your end? Once it's settled, I'll fly over to sign it anytime. Let me tell you, you're the only one I deal with. I don't care about your company. I'm only signing this contract with you.
Hearing Fang Yuanzhou's voice, I couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. President Fang. I've run into some trouble on my end. But the contract won't fall through. Just give me 3 days.
Sure thing, Lu Zhang. I trust your work. I'll wait for the good news in 3 days.
I hung up the phone. I dragged my suitcase downstairs. The sunlight outside was blinding. I stood there for a moment, squinting. My mind was racing. Honda Industry doesn't really have any technical barriers. They just do OEM manufacturing. No core technology, no exclusive patents. Anyone can do this kind of work. The company survives because of me, the clients I brought in one by one, and the decent product quality. Since Zheng Guoliang doesn't want this order, then I'll find someone else. In this industry, as long as you have an order, there's no shortage of factories. I pulled out my phone and scrolled to a number. Tan Guodong, the owner of Dingfeng Manufacturing. Tan Guodong is Honda Industries' arch-rival. Both factories are in the same city, doing almost identical work. They've been at each other's throats for years over clients. President Tan, this is Lu Zheng, from Honda Industry. Is it a good time to meet?
Lu Zhang? Why are you calling me?
I have a $50 million order I'd like to discuss with you. There was a 2-second silence on the other end.
Where are you? I'll send someone to pick you up.
Tan Gudong's office. It's in an old office building. It isn't big, but it's kept very tidy. When I walked in, Tan Gudong was making tea. He's a man in his 50s, with graying hair, but sharp eyes. You can tell he's a shrewd man.
Have a seat.
Tan Guodong pointed to the chair across from him and pushed a cup of tea toward me.
You said a $50 million deal. And Honda Industries doesn't want it?
It's not that Honda Industries doesn't want it. It's that Honda Industries doesn't want me anymore. I just got fired, today. Tan Guodong glances at the screenshot. His brow furrows slightly. He stares at the name, Zheng Guoliang, for a few seconds. Then, he puts the screenshot down. He picks up his tea and takes a sip.
Lu Zhang, you know Zhang Guoliang and I don't get along. By coming to me, aren't you worried?
I'll think you're just here to fish for information. President Tan, if I wanted to fish for information, I wouldn't use a $50 million deal as bait. This contract is with Gaofeng Group. I've been working it for 6 months. The client only deals with me. Now that I've been fired from Honda, this deal needs a new home. I'm interested in Dingfeng's quality and technology. If you think I'm lying, I'll leave right now.
You're quite a straight talker. I've heard of Fang Yuanzhou from Gaofeng Group. He's a tough nut to crack. The fact that you handled him proves you've got real talent.
So, what are you saying, President Tan?
I want the contract. But I'm not just looking for this one deal. Lu Zhang, come work for me. $600,000 a year. Commission is extra. I'll double whatever Honda is paying you.
President Tan, I'll pass on the job. I just crawled out of one pit. I don't want to jump into another one just yet. For this deal, let's use a collab and revenue sharing model. I'll handle landing the deal, and you'll handle production. We'll split the profits proportionally. Tan Guodong's eyes narrowed. He's been in business his whole life. He's seen countless salespeople. But someone like me, who just got fired, immediately bringing a major deal to a competitor, refusing a high-paying offer, is a first for him.
Aren't you afraid I'll take the deal and cut you out?
I am. But I value integrity. That's how I've stayed in this game for 5 years and kept my reputation. If you try to cut me out, President Tan, you won't get this deal. Because President Fang only deals with me. You dumped me. He turned around and gave the deal to someone else.
All right. Lu Zhang. The contract will be drafted. We'll do a 40-60 split. You get 40, I get 60.
50-50.
40-60, you get 40, I get 60, but besides production, all expenses are on me. You only need to do one thing, get the deal back.
Deal. Tan Guodong took my hand. He gave it a firm shake.
Signing in 3 days is no problem, right?
No problem. After leaving Dingfeng Manufacturing, I got into a taxi. The driver asked where I was going. I gave him an address. Then I leaned back in the seat and closed my eyes for a while. This past half month, I've barely had a full night's sleep. Meeting clients during the day, revising proposals at night. I never spent more than 10 minutes on a meal. When my stomach flared up, I'd just take some pills and push through. I'd only lie down when I was crashing. Now that the deal is settled, I finally feel the exhaustion. Back at the apartment, I didn't even take a shower. I just collapsed on the bed and fell asleep. That night, I sat in the apartment alone, as my phone played on loop the voice message from Fang Yuanzhou. I'm only signing this contract with you. I'm only signing this contract with you. It wasn't because I was unsure. It was because I needed to confirm one thing. I still have value. I finally did it. The street lights outside flickered on and off. I didn't turn on any lights. I just sat there in the darkness, like I'd been abandoned by the whole world. I wasn't abandoned. I was underestimated. I was woken up by my phone ringing. It was already pitch black outside. I reached for my phone to check. It was past 8 p.m. The caller ID was an unknown number.
Lu Zhang, it's Zhang Guoliang.
President Zheng. What's this about?
Lu Zhang, what happened today was a misunderstanding. I've already reprimanded Manager Sunday. The decision to fire you was too hasty, so it doesn't count. Come back to work tomorrow. Everything will be back to normal.
President Zheng. What misunderstanding?
It's just about the attendance. You're always out in the field, so you shouldn't be held to the same standards as the desk jockeys. I've already told Manager Sun that you'll be a special case from now on. Clock in if you want, or don't if you don't.
What about my termination?
It doesn't count. Report to the new office tomorrow. I'll have HR get your workstation ready.
I said nothing. I know why Zheng Guoliang is making this call. This industry is small, and news travels fast. The moment I left Dingfeng Manufacturing, the news must have reached Zheng Guoliang's ears. Zheng Guoliang is scared, not of me, but that the $50 million deal will fall into Tan Guodong's hand.
Lu Zhang, are you listening? Lu Zhang, listen to me. The company can't survive without you.
I'm listening. But President Zheng, I've already signed with a new company. I won't be coming back. No hard feelings.
Which company?
I'm not at liberty to say.
Lu Zhang, hold up. Are you going to Tan Guodong?
I didn't answer. I straight up hung up. The phone rang again soon after. It was Zheng Guoliang again, and I answered.
Lu Zhang, don't hang up yet. Listen to my terms. You've been here since the day the company started. For the company to be where it is today, you've been instrumental. I'm planning to make you a partner. Shares, dividends, everything is negotiable. Where are you now? I'm downstairs at your place. Let's find a place to sit down and talk.
I walked to the window and looked down. A black Porsche was parked downstairs. Someone was standing by the car, looking up. It was Zheng Guoliang. I thought for a few seconds, put on my jacket and headed down. The cafe downstairs was dimly lit. It was quiet at this hour. I ordered an Americano. Zheng Guoliang ordered a latte. We sat face to face, with a small round table between us. Zheng Guoliang was clearly prepared.
Lu Zhang, here's the partnership agreement. Take a look. As long as you sign it, you'll have a stake in the company. Also, this 100,000 is personal compensation from me, unrelated to the company.
I picked up the contract and flipped through a few pages. The contract was beautifully drafted, piled high with legal jargon. But the core message was simple. After signing, I would receive 5% virtual equity in the company, earning a share of the annual dividends, but with no voting rights, and no place on the shareholder register. 5% virtual equity with no voting rights. I closed the contract and pushed it back. President Zheng. I don't understand this contract. Please take it back.
Lu Zhang, if you're not satisfied, the terms can be renegotiated.
There's no need for that. I pull out my phone, open the screenshot of the poll, and zoom in. I turn it to show Zheng Guoliang. President Zheng, the person who started this poll, it has your name on it. The smile on Zheng Guoliang's face completely freezes.
The text in the screenshot is tiny, but the name Zhang Guoliang is clear as day.
Over 300 people, and the vast majority of them agreed. I pull my phone back and take a sip of my coffee. President Zheng, what does this tell you? It tells you that everyone thinks I'm just a freeloader. So, isn't it only natural that I leave?
Lu Zhang, that vote was just a formality.
Whether it was a formality, or for real, the result was decided by you personally. Coffee's on me. I'm heading out.
Lu Zhang, regarding the Gaofeng Group deal, how much of a cut are you giving Tan Guodong? I'll give you 2 extra points. How about 12 points?
I look back at him. President Zheng, you're very generous. With that, I turned and walked out of the cafe. Zheng Guoliang stood there on the spot, his expression slowly darkened. I thought that was the end of it. Unexpectedly, early the next morning, Zheng Guoliang showed up again. And this time, he brought Sun Yafang with him. 2 people are standing at the door of my apartment. The expression on Sun Yafang's face shifted from harsh to awkward. She's even carrying a fruit basket.
Lu Zhang, Can we come in for a bit?
Zheng Guoliang says with a smile. His smile carries a forced warmth. I lean against the doorframe, looking at Zheng Guoliang and then at Sun Yefang. Come in.
Lu Zheng, I did you wrong this time. Firing you was my decision. It had nothing to do with President Zheng. The vote was my idea, too. If you have a grudge, come at me. But you know the company's current situation. The contract with Gaofeng Group is crucial for the company. If you give it to Dingfeng, you'll be personally destroying the company you built from the ground up. Lu Zheng. Do you really have a heart to do that?
Heart? I almost burst out laughing. The company I built with my own hands. Right. I built this company up. Contract by contract. But how did the company treat me? A company-wide vote to fire me. The boss himself initiated the vote. Even the apprentice I mentored voted yes. And now you're talking to me about heart? Are you finished, manager-son?
Aye.
If you're finished, then it's my turn. First, I'm no longer with Honda. First, I no longer work for Honda. I don't care if the company lives or dies. Second, I've already signed this contract. There's no way I'm giving it back to you. Third, if you have nothing else, you can leave now. Sun Yafang's face suddenly turned bright red.
Lu Zheng, is there really no room for negotiation?
Zheng Guoliang's voice squeezed from the back of his throat with a resentful rasp. I shook my head.
Cool. Watch yourself, Lu Zheng.
The two of them left. The moment the door closed, a long breath escaped me. 3 days later, Fang Yuanzhou flew in as planned. I was the one who picked him up at the airport.
You've lost weight, Lu. It's been a tough 6 months, hasn't it?
You're joking, Mr. Fang. It's only right. I invited Tang Guodong. The three of us went to a private kitchen downtown for dinner.
Don't worry, Mr. Fang. You can check Dingfeng's quality yourself. If there's any problem, I'll stake my reputation on it. Mr. Tan, I don't care about the pitch, only the results. I trust anyone Lu recommends.
The contract was signed over dinner. Fang Yuanzhou pulled out a pen. He scribbled his name down. Then he pushed the contract to Tang Guodong. Tang Guodong signed it and pushed it to me. In the project manager section, I signed my name, Lu Zheng.
The $50 million deal was finally settled. Don't worry. As long as I'm eating, you won't go hungry. Ha ha ha.
I laughed and played along. But I knew better. You can't take business talk at face value. I'd just been kicked to the curb by a company I'd collabed with for 5 years. There was no way I'd treat someone like a brother just because of one meal and a few words. I got home after the business dinner. It was already 1 a.m. I collapsed onto the bed. I slept straight through until noon the next day. When Tang Guodong called, I was still dreaming.
Lu, your cut has already been wired to your account. Take a look.
After hanging up, I opened my banking app. The numbers displayed on the screen made me freeze for a few seconds. The commission from this one deal was more than all the commissions I'd earned at Hongda Xie over the last 5 years combined. I stared at the number for a long time, then I started to laugh. As I laughed, my eyes began to sting. 5 years. In these 5 years, I've drunk more alcohol than I have water. I've been to the hospital more than the movie theater. I've spent more time with clients than with my own family. I thought I was building a career, but in the end, I realized that in the eyes of others, I'm just a part that can be replaced at any time. But I know now that if you replace certain parts, the machine stops working. I put my phone down and walked to the window. The sun is beautiful outside. People are walking their dogs below, and kids are running around. The world doesn't stop turning just because someone gets fired. But starting today, my life is going to be different. I started setting up my own company. I registered Zhengye Technology. I rented a modest office. I hired 2 people. The company wasn't big, but I had my own plan. I'd build capital through profit-sharing collaborations first, then gradually build my own production capacity and sales network. Once the news got out, my phone wouldn't stop ringing. Old clients I'd served over the years all started calling me up.
Lu Zheng, I heard you started your own company.
Congratulations.
I'll be sending my orders your way from now on.
President Lu, I've got a $3 million deal here. Do you want it?
Lu Zheng, after you left, quality at Hongda plummeted. We'll only work with you from now on.
Within a month, I had managed to secure over a dozen orders of all sizes. I took these orders, giving some to Tang Guodong and partnering with other factories for the rest. When Tang Guodong got those orders, his eyes lit up. He kept saying,
Lu, I'm impressed by your speed.
But the first 2 months of the startup were the hardest of my life. Office rent was due, employees had to be paid, and client payments took 3 months to arrive. My bank balance dwindled day by day, from 6 figures down to 5. Then, from 5 to 4. I lived on instant noodles for over 30 days straight. Eventually, just the smell of them made me want to gag. In the first month, Zhengye Tech only brought in 8,000. In the second month, I took the last of the money out of my bank account. Here's this month's pay. Everyone, please take yours. After paying my 2 employees, I only had $357 left. Standing there in front of the ATM, staring at that number on the screen. I suddenly thought back to 5 years ago, to when I first started at Honda. Back then, I had nothing, but at least I had a desk. Now, I don't even have that desk anymore, but I have a $50 million deal, a client who only trusts me, and a newly signed profit-sharing contract. That's enough. One night, I sat in my empty office, staring at the computer screen. I was $20,000 short on this month's payroll, and the client's payment was still 2 weeks away. I took out my phone and scrolled through my contacts. As for people I could borrow from, I considered them all and ruled them out one by one. It wasn't that I couldn't get the money, it was that I didn't want to ask. I, Lu Zheng, have come this far on my own. I don't want anyone to think I'm failing. The phone rings. It's a call from an old client.
President Lu, I have an urgent order for 2 million. It needs to be delivered next month. Can you take it?
I can. I'll be there tomorrow to sign the contract. I hang up the phone. I lean back in my chair and let out a long breath. A $2 million deal. The profit is enough to cover 3 months of payroll. There's always a way out. In the second month, my company started to turn a profit. In the third month, I landed an even bigger deal. In the fourth month, I moved out of that tiny office of less than 200 square feet. We moved into a bigger office. Month 5, Zheng Tech grew from the initial 2 people to 12. Month 6, I reimbursed the over $40,000 in travel expenses from the company accounts. That was the money I fronted back when I was at Honda Industrial. I could have let it go. But I told myself I earned this money. On the day of the grand opening, many people showed up. Old clients, suppliers, Tan Guodong, and Fang Yuanzhou.
And all the friends I'd made in the game over those years.
Flower stands stretched from the entrance all the way to the elevators. Reds, yellows, and pinks crowded together in a lively display. Tan Guodong sent the largest flower basket. It was inscribed with eventful years and diligent success. Fang Yuanzhou arrived in person.
Lu. From now on, Gaofeng Group's contracts will be prioritized for you.
Thank you, President Fang. You're far too kind. I smile and thank him, then turn to greet other guests. I notice in the corner someone is standing. Zheng Guoliang. He's wearing that dark grey cashmere coat. He's holding a flower basket in his hand, standing outside the crowd, as if waiting for the right moment to come in. I hesitate for a couple of seconds, then walk over. President Zheng, you're here. Zheng Guoliang has a complicated look on his face. He hands over the flower basket. Thank you, Mr. Zheng. Please, come in. We have refreshments inside.
No, thank you. I'll head out now that I dropped this off.
Zheng Guoliang looked at me. He hesitated.
You're doing well now.
I'm okay. It's just the beginning, so I'm taking it slow.
That's good. That's good.
Zheng Guoliang turned and left. I watched him walk away. He disappeared into the elevator. Suddenly, I felt like this once high-spirited boss looked 10 years older than he did 6 months ago. Take care, Mr. Wang. After the grand opening ceremony ended, the guests began to leave. I saw off the last group of guests. I was just about to close the door. I turned and saw Zheng Guoliang. He was still standing in the hallway. He hadn't left. He was leaning against the hallway wall. He had a cigarette between his fingers. Through the drifting smoke, his face looked tired and aged.
Lu Zheng. Can we talk?
Zheng Guoliang's voice was a bit hoarse. I glanced at him and nodded. We stood in the hallway, a few feet apart. The motion sensor light flickered off and on, over and over again.
Since you left, you know the situation at Honda. Production has mostly stopped at the factory. The banks are calling in loans. And the investors who committed have pulled out. Sun Yafeng resigned last month. He even took 2 clients with him when he left. I only realize now, all those years you spent out there in sales, how hard it actually was. I used to think you were just lucky that any salesperson could have closed those deals. Now that I've gone through several teams, they can't even reach half of your numbers. Lin Xiaoyu left, too. He went to another company. Before he left, he told me something. He said, President Zhang, do you know why Lu Zhang was able to close those deals? Because he actually treated the clients like people, not just commissions. Lu Zhang. My biggest regret is listening to Sun Yafeng and firing you.
The hallway was quiet. Only the faint hum of a distant elevator could be heard. I remained silent for a long time. Mr. Zheng, it's all in the past. Go home and get some rest. I turned and walked into the office, and the door closed softly behind me. Standing behind the door, I heard a very faint sigh from outside. A few months later, Zheng Technology's business continued to grow. I started considering building my own factory. While outsourcing is convenient, it eats up a large chunk of the profits. Moreover, quality and delivery times aren't fully under my control. I need a production base that truly belongs to me. I had my assistant look for a suitable factory. Go look for a suitable factory. Prioritize ones that can be acquired straight up. To save the time and cost of building from scratch. I need a production base that's truly my own. 1 week later.
President Lu, I found a suitable factory. It's fully equipped, good location, and the price is right. It's just
what?
It's Honda Industries. They've been looking for a buyer lately. Zheng Guoliang has already listed it for sale. President Lu, if this is awkward for you, we can look for other options.
No need to look elsewhere. Let's go take a look. As the car drove toward Honda Industrial, I didn't say a word the whole way. I watched the scenery outside the window change from skyscrapers to low-rises, and then to factories. It was like a movie playing in my head, flashing through scenes from the past 5 years. When I first walked through Honda's gates, I was only 25 years old. Carrying a backpack, I had a printed resume tucked in my pocket. Zheng Guoliang interviewed me personally. He asked me one question.
What value can you bring to the company?
I can take Honda from a small workshop and turn it into a real corporation.
Zheng Guoliang laughed. Bold words for a young man.
Later, I actually did it. But what I didn't expect was that, when Honda truly transformed from a workshop into a corporation, the first person to be kicked to the curb was me. The car stopped at the entrance of Honda Industrial. The factory gate was still the same. But the sign for Honda Industrial had been taken down, leaving only a few rusty screw holes. The scooter shed by the entrance was empty. Leaves and trash were scattered on the ground. It looked like it hadn't been cleaned in a long time. Only a grey-haired old man sat in the security booth, squinting at a small TV. The assistant went over and greeted the old man. The old man picked up the remote and turned off the TV. I slowly open the gate. I walk inside. Every inch of this facility is familiar to me. To the left is the workshop. To the right is the warehouse. Further ahead is the office building. I've walked this path countless times. Sometimes at dawn. Sometimes in the dead of night. Sometimes giving tours to clients. Sometimes working late as the last one to leave. I walk into the office building. The hallway lights are the same ones, but some of them are out now. The walls were once covered with slogans and awards. Now, only the glue marks remain. I pass an office and glance inside through the glass door. That was my old workstation. The desk was still there, but it was covered in a layer of dust. The drawer was half open. Inside, there were still a few sticky notes I'd forgotten to take. They had the contact info for a few clients on them. The sales champion photo wall was still there. My photo hung right in the center, but someone had torn it in half, leaving only half a face. I looked at it for a few seconds and walked away. I reached the door of Zheng Guoliang's office. The door was open. Zheng Guoliang was sitting inside. On the desk in front of him, several documents were spread out, but he clearly wasn't reading them. He was leaning back in his chair, his hair mostly turned white. The wrinkles on his face looked like they'd been etched with a knife. He looked at least 5 years older than the last time we met. He looked up when he heard footsteps. Seeing it was me, his eyes lit up for a moment then dimmed once more, like a lamp blown out by the wind.
Lu Zheng. You're here.
President Zheng. The assistant tactfully stepped out. Closed the door. Zheng Guoliang stood up. He took a bottle of wine from the cabinet and 2 glasses.
This is from when you first signed $1 million deal. The same wine we drank then. I've been saving it. Unable to bring myself to drink it.
He poured 2 glasses and pushed one toward me. I glanced at the wine but didn't pick it up. I don't drink anymore. My stomach can't handle it. Zheng Guoliang's hand paused. Of course he knows about my stomach. Why I can't drink. Back then, to close those deals, I drank until I had gastric bleeding and was rushed to the ER. It's not that he doesn't know. He just pretends not to. Zheng Guoliang picks up his glass and drains it.
You've seen the state of the factory. I can't hold on any longer. The equipment, the plant, the inventory. I'm selling everything I can. I just don't want to end up buried in debt. I've already drafted the acquisition contract. The price is listed as well.
I pick up the document and look through it page by page. The price is fair. The terms are clear. There are no issues. I pick up the pen. In the buyer's section, I sign my name, Lu Zheng. Zheng Guoliang looks at those 2 words, and his eyes slowly well.
Lu Zheng, you signed faster than I did. When I was signing as the seller, I hesitated for 3 days.
It's because you were reluctant to let go.
It's because I'm ashamed. You built this factory from the ground up, and in the end, you're the one taking it over again. I, Zheng Guoliang, have never respected anyone in my life, but I respect you.
President Zheng, the contract is signed. I have other things to handle, so I'll head out. I stand up and walk out. As I walk out of the office, a memory suddenly flashes through my mind. 5 years ago, when I first walked through these doors, wearing a faded, pushed-out shirt.
What value can you bring to the company?
I could turn Honda from a workshop into a corporation. 5 years later, I delivered on that promise. I just never imagined it would happen like this.
Lu Zheng.
Zheng Guoliang called out from behind me.
Lu Zheng. If I hadn't fired you back then, how would things be now?
I stayed silent for a few seconds. President Zheng, there are no ifs. I opened the door and walked out. As I walked through the factory gates, the sun was shining bright. The old man in the guardhouse poked his head out and gave me a thumbs up. I smiled. Sir, I own this factory now. If you're interested, you can keep working here. The old man paused for a second. He took the cigarette and grinned. I got into the car. I leaned back against the seat and closed my eyes. An old song with a soulful melody was playing on the car radio. The lyrics sang, "Forgive me for my life, unfettered and loving freedom."
President Lu, back to the office.
Back to the office. The car slowly pulled out and merged into traffic. I opened my eyes and glanced at the rearview mirror. The gates of Honda Industries grew smaller and smaller in the mirror, smaller and smaller, until they became a mere speck and vanished into the distance. I looked away and stared ahead. The road is long, but there's nothing to fear. What's done is done. And whatever is coming is on its way. About another week passed. I received a phone call. It was from my former apprentice, Lin Xiaoyu. Hello?
Long time no see, mentor. I'd like to take you to dinner if you're free.
This part should be handled like this. This is my apprentice. He has a lot of potential. But I remember that vote. The name on the screenshot, Lin Xiaoyu, agree. I hesitated for a few seconds, but I went anyway. Not because I still saw him as my apprentice, but because I wanted to hear how this young man, whom I personally trained, had the nerve to face me. He chose the restaurant. It was a nice place. It wasn't cheap. When I arrived, Lin Xiaoyu was already there. He was wearing a well-tailored suit. He looked much sharper than he did at the office. He stood up as soon as he saw me, a smile plastered on his face. Don't call me mentor. I'm no longer with Honda. I don't deserve that title.
Don't say that, mentor. You were my mentor once, and you always will be.
If you call me that one more time, I'm leaving right now.
Then order whatever you'd like. Forget about the food. Let's get down to business.
Lin Xiaoyu opened her mouth, hesitated for a few seconds, and finally spoke.
Things aren't going well at Hongda. After you left, the Gaofeng Group deal fell through. Fang Yuanzhou won't even take President Zheng's calls. Most of the old clients have left too. The factory has dozens of production lines. Nearly 2/3 have stopped now.
And then?
President Zheng's idea is, he wants you back. He said if you return, he'll give you a salary of 300,000. Commissions will be 3% higher than before. He'll give you the VP position. Regarding clocking in, you can come whenever you want. You don't have to show up if you don't want to.
I picked up the glass on the table and took a sip. Do you think I should go back?
Lin Xiaoyu was stunned for a moment. I think the terms are quite good. After all, you put your heart and soul into Hongda. If you leave them for dead.
Leave them for dead? Lin Xiaoyu, let me ask you a question. When the company voted to fire me, how did you vote? Lin Xiaoyu's face went pale instantly.
Mentor, I can explain that. Manager's son forced me to do it. She said if I didn't vote, she'd withhold my commission. I didn't have a choice at the time.
You don't need to explain. This meal is on me. Don't contact me again. Mentor, Lin Xiaoyu called out from behind. Her voice was thick with tears. I didn't look back. In the days that followed, I stopped following Honda Industrial. I threw myself completely into my own startup. Another half year passed, and Zhengye Technologies' scale had grown several times over. From the initial 10 people to over 100 now, with orders piling up, I started building my own production system. After I acquired the Honda factory, I converted it into the production base for Zhengye Technology. I kept all the original workers who were willing to stay. The old man at the gate, I gave him a raise and let him keep his job. One day,
President Liu, someone is here to see you.
Who?
She said her name is Sun Yafang.
I was stunned for a moment. Let her in. When Sun Yafang walked in, I almost didn't recognize her. She was wearing an ordinary black down jacket. Her hair was tied back loosely, her makeup was very light, and the fine lines around her eyes were visible. She was a completely different person from the arrogant manager's son of a year ago. With her hands folded on her knees, her posture was exactly the same as when she came to my apartment to apologize.
It's been a long time, President Liu.
What brings you here, manager's son?
I'm not manager's son anymore. I'm doing admin work at a small firm. My salary is only half what it used to be. I came here to ask a favor. I know I have no right to show my face here. But the veteran workers at Hongda, many of them used to work under you. Now that you've acquired the plant, they're afraid you'll replace them all. I'm asking on their behalf if you could keep some of them on.
I looked into her eyes. I already did. I'm keeping everyone who's down to work.
Thank you.
Manager's son. When you fired me back then, did you ever imagine today would come? Her lips trembled slightly. She didn't answer. She opened the door and walked out. I watched the door close. I couldn't quite describe the feeling. It wasn't satisfaction. Nor was it pity. Just a calm sense of closure. Later, I heard that Zheng Guoliang used the money from selling the factory to open a small noodle shop. Right across the street from the old Hongda Xie. I passed by once. Through the glass window, I saw him in an apron, busy in the kitchen. His hair was completely white. But he seemed to be in good spirits. I didn't go in. Some doors, once you walk through, lead to a different story. And my story continues.